ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Daivim Saraswati Vyasam
Tatho Jayamudiraye
Madhiraye
Nashtapayeshu Bhadreshu
Nastapayeshu Avadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki
Bhakti Bhavati Naishlaki
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Nanda Gopa
Nanda
Kumaraya
Gopakumaraya
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 2, verse number 16. Tasmaunmadanathaya Nashta Shauchaya Durhide Datta Bata Maya Sadvi Chodite Paramechstine Tasmaunmadanathaya Nashta Shauchaya Durhide Datta Bata Maya Sadvi Chodite Parameshtina Tasma Unmadanathaya Nashta Sauchaya Durhide Datta Bata Maya Sadvi
Dattavattamaya Saudvi
Chodite Parameshtina
Jodite Parameshtaha
Tasma Unmadanathaya Nashta Sauchaya Durhide Datta Bata Maya Sadvi Chodite Parameshtina
Tasma Unmadanathaya
Tasma Unmadanathaya
Ashtasauchaya Durhade
Nashta Sauchaya Durhide
Dattavatamaya Sadvi
Datta Bata Maya Sadvi
Jodite Parameshtitaha
Chodite Parameshtina Tasmai
Tasma
to him
Sudim
Unmadanathaya to the
Madanathaya
Lord of Hosts
Lord of
Nashta Shauchaya
Ashtasauchaya
being devoid of all cleanliness
being given of all the cleanliness
Durhide
Durhade
heart filled with nasty things
are filled with justice.
Datta
Datta
was given
was given
Bata
Vata
alas
last
Maya
Maya
by me
by me
Sadhvi
Sadvi
Sati
Sati
Chodite
Jodite
being requested
being requested
Parameshtina by
Paramestina
the Supreme Teacher Brahma.
the Supreme Teacher Brahma.
Translation purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai. On the request of Lord Brahma, I handed over my chaste daughter to him, although he is devoid of all cleanliness, and his heart is filled with nasty things. Durhriday. So who is speaking to whom?
Daksha is speaking to
To whom?
Brahman.
To everybody he is speaking. To the whole assembly.
So that is the whole is talking about. Okay. And the order of Brahman.
He's like Brahma and Shiva are sitting, and everybody is there. All the devatas are there. And this is like a public blasphemy in the presence of Brahma and Shiva. He is blaspheming both Brahma and Shiva, who are the topmost personalities in this material world. He is blaspheming both Brahma and Shiva in a public assembly.
This Daksha.
He is blaspheming both of them. And through this Bhagavatam verse, Sukadeva Goswami is teaching through Daksha what not to do, and through Lord Shiva what to do. And we see what did we learn from Daksha's behavior. From Daksha's behavior, we learn what not to do. And from Lord Shiva's behavior, we learn what to do. So what did Shiva do after hearing the blasphemy? What did he do after hearing the blasphemy? This will come in future. What did Shiva do after hearing all this blasphemy?
He did not blaspheme.
He just stayed quiet
He didn't
and
take
he
any
just remembering the Lord.
very humble. Yeah.
Material nature is doing its own play, and I don't have to interfere. That's what it is the nature of this world. And he's just focusing on the Lord. But when he left is when his own um, um, people, when they started blaspheming, and they started blaspheming back, and when to and fro blasphemy was going on, then Lord Shiva thought, this is not conducive. I think I should leave. And then he got up and he left, and he did not take any action. This we So, Prabhu, the verse is on the request of Lord Brahma, I handed over my chaste daughter to him, although he is devoid of all cleanliness and his heart is filled with nasty things. Purport. By his divine grace, Yasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is the duty of parents to hand over their daughters to suitable persons, just befitting their family tradition in cleanliness, gentle behavior, wealth, social position, etc. Daksha was repentant that on the request of Brahma, who was his father, he had handed over his daughter to a person who, according to his calculation, was nasty. So, what did Brahma do? Brahma told Brahmaji, Brahmaji told Daksha, and he told Daksha, I would recommend that you give your daughter to Lord Shiva. So, um, how was Brahmaji's advice to Daksha? You hand over your daughter to Lord Shiva. Wasn't it the best advice?
It was.
And like he knows that Shiva is the greatest personality. Uh, he's the greatest personality. And Brahma is telling Daksha, he is doing so much favor to Daksha by telling you give your daughter to Lord Shiva. This is the greatest benediction for Daksha. And how did Daksha take it as? Daksha took it as he's like he hated it. He hated the advice, but he was obligated, and that's why he gave his daughter to Daksha. And because he hated his father's advice in his heart that time, now it is coming out into words. And we see time and again, there are many examples where the pure devotees, they always give a good advice. But then because those who are taking the advice, if they are conditioned, they may not take it in a right perspective. Can we think of some example of pure devotees who gave the best advice, and the listening party, they blasphemed it or they did not take it properly? This is happening time again and again, that the pure devotees always give the best advice, but because we are conditioned, we don't want to take those advice and we still want to do the way we think is the best. Can you think of some example from Bhagavatam? Huh? Prahlad Maharaj. He gave the best advice to Hiranyakashipu. What did he say? You take the dust from the lotus feet of pure devotees and smear it on all over your head. Give up your mentality, go to the forest of Vrindavan and do devotional service. And he became NBS, Hiranyakashipu. Any other example? Who gave the best advice? Ah, excellent provision. Vidura told Dhritarashtra, what did he say? This is Dasi Putra. Vidura told Dhritarashtra that
Sanjaya.
he told Dhritarashtra that your son is offense personified.
Yeah.
Get rid of him, and then you give half of the kingdom to Pandavas.
Yeah.
That will be good for you. But Dhritarashtra did not listen. He didn't like that advice, but he didn't say because he was totally corrupted, and he let Duryodhan blaspheme Vidura, and he didn't say anything there. But he was happy in his heart, and he let Vidura go. Power of association. Any other example? or where pure devotees gave the best advice, but the listening party was not willing to listen.
Indra for the Govardhan, Govardhan hill when Krishna, I think, Nanda Maharaj, before he actually poured the rain for floods, I think he was given
The advice?
advice by somebody.
By whom he was given advice? No, he was just by himself, and he was he was in full pride. Anyways, maybe I don't remember. Any other example? Huh? Vibhishan gave a best advice to return Sita, but he didn't want to do it. And Narad Muni also gave the best advice to the son of Daksha later on, that you take sannyas, life is meant for self-realization. But Daksha became envious, and Daksha chastised Narad Muni, although he did the best thing for his son. That's what all the parents want. So we see time and again, although the pure devotees, they give the best advice, unless we are totally surrendered, we want to do what we think is right. And if it is not in our favor, then we kind of go against those devotees also in our mind. That I don't want to take advice from them. And then we also do like devotee shopping. Now it is devotee shopping. We approach only those devotees that give the advice which is in our favor. So this is why, because, and what happens when we don't seriously take the advice of devotees? Then um, time teaches us. Time teaches us. So here we see that Brahma gave the best advice to Daksha, give your daughter to Lord Shiva. And he is here publicly blaspheming. So once again, it is the duty of parents to hand over their daughters to suitable persons, just befitting their family tradition in cleanliness, gentle behavior, wealth, social position, etc. Let's think about it. It is a duty of the parent to hand over their daughters to suitable person, just befitting their family tradition in cleanliness, gentle behavior, wealth, social position, etc. What do you think about this? Do you think when you give your daughter to somebody, do you think their social position, their wealth, their gentle behavior, their cleanliness? Do you think of these things? I mean, will you think of those things? Their wealth, their social position, their gentle behavior, their cleanliness. Generally, it is the case. Generally, especially Prabhupada is telling it is generally happens, especially in this age. Daksha was repentant that on the request of Brahma, who was his father, he had handed over his daughter to a person who, according to his calculation, was nasty. And what was Daksha's perspective of Lord Shiva? Durhrita. Durhrita means Daksha said he is devoid of all cleanliness and his heart is filled with nasty things. His heart is filled with nasty things. So, Daksha is telling to Daksha is telling to everybody that I gave my daughter with echoing. I gave my that I gave my daughter to Lord Shiva, who is filled with nasty things. Actually, there there is nothing um, wrong or no bad quality or no shortcomings in Lord Shiva, but um, it was Daksha's vision that he was seeing Lord Shiva from that perspective, and the reason was Daksha ego was hurt because Lord Shiva would not pay respect to Daksha, because Lord Shiva is always respecting and always paying obeisances to Lord Vishnu in his heart. And so he was in trance, he was in meditation, remembering the Lord. And Daksha, because his ego was hurt, he is finding fault in Lord Shiva and he's telling that Lord Shiva, his heart is full of nasty things. He's telling Lord Shiva, heart is full of nasty things. It is like Rupa Goswami says in Nectar of Instruction that one should not find fault in anybody based on externals. Sometimes he eats like this, he sleeps like this, he dresses like this, he behaves like this, he talks like this. And based on these things, sometimes we may judge the person and we may judge the character of a person, or we just check the person, judge the personality also. And this is what Rupa Goswami says, and this is the mistake that here Daksha did. He judged Lord Shiva based on externals, but he didn't see that how Lord Shiva's heart is filled with devotion to the Lord. Another thing is, naturally, Daksha is not a pure soul at this point of time. So he desired that everybody listens to him. And when Lord Shiva did not listen, he started blaspheming the character of Lord Shiva. It is said, like Srila Prabhupada explains, that there are multiple kind of people, and some of the people, they see little they see little bad in somebody else, and they expand it, and they judge the person as bad. And can you think of some example of somebody who saw little bad in somebody else and they expanded it, and they thought that this whole person character is bad?
Yes, I forgot the name.
Amol has some, yes. Thank you
Saw
so
the
much.
ants crawling and he said, you know, being a sannyasi, not taken it.
Uh, Yeah, so there is nothing wrong, but like Amoga, Lord Chaitanya is like ocean of good qualities. Now, all the good qualities emanate from Lord Chaitanya. And Amoga, he just um, he saw Lord Chaitanya eating, and then he blasphemed Lord Chaitanya as what kind of sannyasi you are.
Yeah.
You overeat.
So many of them.
So in that way, any other example where little bit fault and they judge the character, um, and then they had to pay a heavy price for that actually because of the judgment. Amogha had to pay a price.
Parikshit Maharaj and Maharaj, he made a small mistake. They had to pay a heavy price for it.
And West,
So
today's Dwadasi,
Fringi is an example.
today's Dwadasi, Amrish Maharaj and Durvasa.
One small thing he saw in Amrish Maharaj, and he just that filled up his mind. So this is what happened with Daksha also. He saw a small mistake, and then in Lord Shiva, and what was the mistake he saw in Lord Shiva? It was not even a mistake. It's just that Lord Shiva did not get up when everybody got up. That's all. And then he is telling, he's like, his eyes are like lion, something like that. Monkey. That is the height. His eyes are like monkey, and his heart is filled with nasty things, and he is so unclean. So in that way, he started blaspheming. And there is other kind of people also who see little good in others, and they just see that little good, and they forget everything else. Can you think of some example? They say they see little good in others, they just think of that little good, and they forget all the bad in that person, and they just see that little good.
The lady was climbing on Lord Chaitanya's shoulder to take Lord Jagannath darshan. Govindra was pulling, what are you doing here? Lord Chaitanya said, I should learn from her.
But at the same time, we don't know there if the lady was bad. Like an example where the person is full of nasty things actually, but there's a little good in them, and somebody else saw only that good. Huh? Jagai Madhai is a good example. Jagai Madhai, how?
Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur look for an opportunity saying that if they are taken and not taken, a glorification will spread all around.
And then he saved Nityananda Prabhu. Na. Madhai told Jagai that, hey, don't do it. And that one thing Lord Chaitanya saw, Lord Chaitanya gave him love of God. Although Marai is like a very envious person. I mean, they're eternal associate of the Lord, but in this past time, they acted in this way. Any other example? They saw like full of nasty things, but one good quality, and they just thought of those qualities and nothing else. And yes, sir. Thank you. So, because we were just mentioning about the example of Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. So, they saw in themselves full bad, nothing good. And Jagai Madai full of bad things. They just picked the one good thing that they were born in Navadvip. And they said they are born in Navadvip. They are millions of times better than us. They are at least not working for Muslims. Although they may be sinful, we are working for Muslims. So they just expanded it, and that's all they saw, that they are great souls and we are. Any other example we can think? I think one example is also Krishna and Putana.
The Ajamil.
Putana came to kill Krishna, and Krishna said, "Oh, she came like a mother, don't worry." So this is
Even Madana.
uh, Lord Ram and Vibhishan.
I mean, we can't say it's bad, but
He saw one good quality and he was very happy. That's surrender. Yeah, but still, Vibhishan was a good person. Any other example? I think Matri was saying Ajamil.
Yeah, he did everything. Ultimate
Yes,
last
sir.
day. Krishna Dora.
Yes. Like he just sent in Narayan, even calling his sons, and the Lord gave full blessings.
More
and-
like it, same like
yeah, everything is gone. So it is said that it is said the devotees and the Lord and the devotees are adhokshitas. Then no matter what you do, like we may have all witnessed personally also, no matter what we do, the pure devotees doesn't keep anything in their heart. They may train it, like Srila Prabhupada may train it, but they don't keep anything in their heart. Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj asked, please liberate. And then also one lecture I was hearing, and there was mention of this movie, Damarodam. There this, there they saw that people drink and smoke and do whatever they want and have whatever relationship they want and just chant Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, and everything will be all right. So it's like a blasphemy of the whole Hare Krishna movement. So they told Prabhupada. I think Giriraj Maharaj, he went to saw that movie. Thought this is movie on Hare Krishna. So he became very happy. So he bought the ticket Indian cinema and he went and he was very disturbed, Giriraj Maharaj. So Maharaj went to Prabhupada and Maharaj told Prabhupada that Prabhupada, this is like openly they are criticizing the whole mission that you are spreading with so much blood and sweat and so much effort you are putting. They are openly criticizing. And Prabhupada says, no, this is very nice. Prabhupada said, all these things will go away. People will only remember Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. So they are chanting Hare Krishna and Hare Ram. They are making the whole world chant Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. The whole movie was blasphemy of Hare Krishna movement. Prabhupada only saw they are making people chant Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Everything else will go away. And nobody remembers anything now. All they remember in that song is they chant Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. That
I have
was.
one more story. Prabhupada. When you Rolex watch, Aladar Prabhu. So he was in the jailer. So when I come out the jailer and he was into a shop and someone is reading newspaper and he saw Prabhupada giving the lecture and the kirtan and the other Rolex watch. Immediately want to, with this Swamiji, I want to steal this in the mind, take that watch. And he came to Juhu temple. And he was searching Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna is coming. Then he joined the movement. Then your intention was to we take that watch and he doing service, everything. So one day Hyderabad some program is there. So I want to see Prabhupada. So you would send to him Hyderabad. And everything is function, everything is over. And Prabhupada sitting last. And Prabhupada is called, come here. Then he's observing the entire class, only seeing the watch. And Prabhupada wanted to take this watch. Go and do service. So I heard about this. Rolex watch. Yeah,
Yes.
so he become a devotee.
Mm.
And still Prabhu is in the Bombay, is a TV, TV channel. He's the leading in the Juhu.
Enjoy. Thank you. So here Nadia Vihai Prabhu is mentioning about an example of a devotee who wanted a Rolex watch that Prabhupada was wearing, and he joined the movement later on. Eventually, Prabhupada gave that watch to him by himself, and that kind of pacified him, and then he remained in the movement forever. So there are many examples, and Prabhupada also gave the example. Prabhupada would say, fan the spark, fan the spark. Prabhupada compared these temples to hospitals, and people don't come to hospital because they are fit. Nobody go to hospital when we are fit. We go to hospital only when there is a disease now. So people who are coming to our temples are those who have some disease. And what is that disease? Forgetfulness of Krishna. That's why Thakur said that's the biggest disease. We have forgotten Krishna. So whoever are coming, and whatever qualities they have or whatever behavior they exhibit is somehow or other that will go away if they take up to Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada will only see that okay, they have some desire to serve Krishna. They have some interest in hearing. They have some interest in maybe Mahaprasad. That's all people had interest in the beginning. Prabhupada says, oh, they're appreciating Krishna's Mahaprasad. That's all Prabhupada saw. They are drug addicts, they are this, and their behavior. And what all Prabhupada had to go through, no? So much difficulty. But Prabhupada just saw that, okay, there is some spark, that they are somehow interested in Krishna. And what happened now? That's why um, the temple, especially, um, the temple should be run in such a way that everybody is encouraged to take up Krishna consciousness. And like one time I asked Kalakanta Prabhu that, Prabhu, how do we make decisions? If you have to make decision in temple management, how do we make decision? And Prabhuji mentioned, we make decision in the interest of others. Whatever decision you make, and whoever is involved, whichever party is involved, just think, is this good for that person? And the answer is yes, good for them. That's a right decision. Understood?
When Prabhupada in the lecture is telling, Bhagavatam class is going on. So one of the thief is sitting in the Bhagavatam class and he's explaining the speaker about Krishna, how he is in Vrindavan. He's wearing ornaments and very opulent. So this person is going to go and steal the story.
Yeah. I mean,
the association of Krishna is becoming.
He was a thief and he wanted to steal all the ornaments, and he went to Vrindavan and he's searching for Krishna, and Krishna gave his darshan because he was so eager to steal the ornament of Krishna. Okay, so Daksha was repentant, and that on the request of Brahma, who was his father, he had handed over his daughter to a person who, according to his calculation, was nasty. He was so angry that he did not acknowledge that the request was from his father. He was so angry that he did not acknowledge that the request was from his father. Instead, he referred to Brahma as Parameshti, the spiritual teacher in the universe. So it's like Daksha mood is, when Brahma is speaking, Daksha mood is like, see, he is a supreme teacher. He is a great personality. And he told me to marry my daughter to this nasty person. He's the word teacher, and see what he did. He told me to marry my daughter to this nasty person. So Prabhupada is telling the way he's speaking, he's actually blaspheming Brahma also. And he's not telling Brahma as his father. He's telling him, see, he is the supreme teacher. He's supposed to do the right thing. And he forced me to give my daughter to this. And I was obliged, that's why I did to him. So it's like he's blaspheming Brahma, who is his father, and he's blaspheming Lord Shiva. So Prabhupada is telling he was so angry that he did not acknowledge that the request was from his father. And naturally, if you become angry, what happens when you become angry? We speak very bad words, no? Or the bad thoughts, or we lose control of our senses. And then what is the result of anger? Later on, there is so much repentance, actually, so many days of repentance and so much struggle. I mean, the more we progress, see, it takes a lot to build up a spiritual strength, and then suddenly, from the Shakti, suddenly everything is lost, and there is at least few days of struggle, right? At least one anger, 5 minutes, few days of torture. So that's what, and for him, it also depends upon whom we become angry. We become angry at devotees who are very exalted, then it's like complete destruction. If you become angry at somebody who is relatively beginner and you are very serious, then few days of destruction. But if you become angry at seniors who are very exalted, complete destruction. And here we see what was the effect of Daksha. Actually got a goat head. It's quite a severe position Daksha got. So he was so angry that he did not acknowledge that the request was from his father. Instead, he referred to Brahma as Parameshti, the supreme teacher in the universe, because of his temperament of gross anger. He was not even prepared to accept Brahma as his father. In other words, he accused even Brahma of being less intelligent. So Prabhupada is telling he accused even Brahma of being the Brahma. This is that he's a supreme teacher, this is a decision he made. So he accused Brahma of being less intelligent because he had advised Daksha to hand over his beautiful daughter to such a nasty fellow. In anger, one forgets everything, and thus Daksha, in anger, not only accused great Lord Shiva, but criticized his own father, Lord Brahma, for his not very astute advice that Daksha hand over his daughter to Lord Shiva. Anything, any reflection? Yes. What can we learn from this?
And blaspheming the devotees is big. Like for giving example, like how is the elephant entering
Mad
the garden?
elephant.
Yeah.
And whom we speak bad about, um, how much reaction that brings depends upon how exalted a devotee is, how that much bad the reaction is. Lord Shiva displayed tolerance. Puri, what is your name? What is Ayush? And what is your name? Kiran Prabhu. Yes, so Kiran Prabhu is mentioning the tolerance, we can learn the tolerance of Lord Shiva. Prabhupada also said that a devotee has to be tolerant. Prabhupada said, especially for the preacher. Prabhupada said a preacher has to be tolerant. And we see this example of how Prahlad Maharaj was treated because he was preaching. And there were so many people who were actually criticizing. And we were discussing how the devotees, whenever they give good advice, many take the advice against. Like Vibhishan gave good advice to Ravana, and then Vibhishan was tolerant. So whenever good advice is given, others may not because of their condition. So Prabhupada said a preacher has to be tolerant. Anything else?
Haridas Thakur was written in the market.
Haridas Thakur tolerance.
Okay. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Question time, okay?
Whatever.
Okay, so the thing is that if someone comes and say, complains that, comes and shares in confidence that they heard something negative about some pure devotee or someone, and they're not able to digest it. Like, for example, if someone speaks something offensive, like devotee, then that time you cannot tell that devotee to get lost. You cannot tell the devotee to shut up because at the same time cannot run away also. So what is the most appropriate?
So Shamisha is asking for my purification. He's asking probably if somebody comes and blasphemes a pure devotee, says something about exalted devotee, we cannot run away because it seems inappropriate, and we cannot rectify them.
Yeah, we cannot even tell them to stop speaking also.
We cannot tell because they want to get the poison out, the poison that is in their hearts.
Or sometimes what if that person is seen as well?
Seen it to us?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one pastime that comes to my mind is the young dutas. They were kind of unhappy and not very positive about Vishnu dutas. And they went and told Vishnu dutas that, what kind of they, who are you and then they also didn't like his act, the act of Vishnudutas. So the moment Yamaraj heard this, Yamaraj immediately bent on his knees and started paying obeisances, and then he rectified the Yamdutas of the fault. Actually, my humble opinion, probably, if it is somebody who is equal or who is like somebody whom we are cultivating, we should help them to come out of that poison, because the moment they cultivate that poison within their heart, it is a source of destruction. It's like when mind is kind of contaminated with those thoughts, how will they be able to chant or progress in their Krishna consciousness? Like very difficult. And Krishna also don't won't allow them to make progress. So we must rectify. And Bhakti Charu Maharaj mentions in Vaishnava etiquette that if a senior does any mistake, then Maharaj says then we should not uh, we should not alone go and correct. Maharaj says like suppose there is a senior devotee and the senior devotee is like say breaking a regulatory principle or doing something which is like completely against, I mean usually it never happens, but just a hypothetical situation. Then Maharaj says then a group of devotees should go and then say, Prabhuji or Mataji, whoever that senior devotee is, that we really respect and everything. This is something came to our notice and our mind is very much disturbed and we are presenting in a humble way in front of you. Please help us remove the poison from our mind. And this is something that is tormenting us. But a senior devotee, no matter what, as a matter of etiquette, must always be respected, independent of independent of what they do. Also, we also hear for most part, senior devotees cannot be understood because Krishna only sees the um, the bhav, and many times the actions don't really present. But somebody who is equal, we can take benefit of doubts, and then we correct. No, no, Prabhu, what are you saying? It will be a great struggle tomorrow for both of us. Let's work on this and let's not think in this direction. Then it's good to correct. Is that all you told? And to answer your question.
Yeah, with equal, I mean, nobody's equal, but in case of equals and juniors, yeah, you can speak, but sometimes seniors you cannot speak. Then it's like, um, I mean, at the same time, I'm not trying to
Depends also on how senior they are. Somebody who is like our gurus, then we are very, very careful. But somebody who may be initiated before, but then there is a friendly relationship, then we can say.
I mean, not like gurus or something, but like 10, 15 years and not like in that position, but I mean, and sometimes you're praying from the heart also, you don't want to hear, but then you have to hear. And, I mean, it's like, I mean, the real question is, okay, we won't associate with them closely again. But the point is that at that moment, we heard the aparat, and after hearing the aparat, then how can one actually, at least in the eyes of Guru and Krishna, come out of that, of hearing that offense? That's the question.
One more thought, I will ask devotees to add. One more thought I remember is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, it's not hearing, but Mahaprabhu said, if we speak blasphemy of somebody, then Mahaprabhu says it's like drinking poison. And then Mahaprabhu says, when we glorify the same devotees, then that is like, that is a, uh, that counteracts that poison. So whoever blasphemes, if we glorify, oh, and glorify to indirectly, glorify to others about them, then it goes out. And also, there is an extreme case where somebody is like always negative towards devotees. Like the mind is disturbed. When mind is disturbed, then all that comes out is negativity of somebody. That's a sign of mental disturbance. Usually, mental disturbance occurs because of breaking regulative principles. Prabhupada said, when the regulative principle is broken, then the mind is disturbed. Anything, anybody, unless one thing is just they are new in Krishna consciousness, then it's like they have broken regulative principles so much, and that's why the mind is very much contaminated. So all those things are there. But then somebody is progressing, and somebody is very sincere, maybe few years, and then some regulatory principle is broken, and suddenly all these blasphemous thoughts will come um, towards other devotees, towards the deities, towards Prabhupada, and everything like this. This mind becomes like agitated, unstable, and these things may come. Um, um, but yeah, they should be given shelter if it is like if they are sincere, they should be given shelter. But then there can be some people who just have this, who are just always in a criticizing mood. And even if you try to rectify them once or twice, and they are just blasphemous, then Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that is asatsang. Then just maintain this.
So if you hear by mistake, then we don't, and or then if you don't speak it, but you just pray, then you don't take it in, you just take it one ear out the other ear, but if you don't speak, it's fine.
Yeah, we can also see from the perspective. Yeah, it's like that asatsang is very dangerous because it's like poisons the thought process. One thing we can think is we can think of their lives who are sincere devotees, and if you see their previous 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, then you can see dead souls, and then one or two things does not count.
Yeah, but I got so as long as you don't speak it and you just like forget about it, and of course you have to avoid the sangha of devotees or critical.
Also, speaking with some other devotees, either equals or seniors, also helps. That this what happened, and yeah, and then that discussion also, because we get encouragement that the person who spoke, yeah, his mind is disturbed. So that is like it reinstates our faith, which is kind of shaking because of blasphemy we have heard. And then when we hear from multiple, then we know that a group of sincere devotees like in the same thought and brings us back like chain. Um, Anything else? Anybody wants to add? Yes. Babajai Prabhu. Can we end? That's was pardon Nijal Ekadashi. So I think the breakfast was. You have something? All right. Please forgive me if I spoke anything wrong as your humble servant. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasintu evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavim. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dhanavad pranam Sri Krishna. Thank you very much. Very much. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai.